Are you ready for this? Low energy IJS Radio. Right? You look like you can't even do the show right now.
I mean, I thought you were going to start playing first.
Well, so we're going to do a song together.
Little guitar intro.
We're going to play an improvised song anyways, right?
Yeah, sure. Just go ahead.
IJS Radio. Oh, yeah. That's it.
All right. Okay. So that was nice.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's great.
How are you?
Terrific. You don't sound altered at all.
No,
I mean, have we we don't just cover the news. Everyone just can do that, right? We're trying to do a broad spectrum here, from like personal real life shit to the news to celebrity gossip.
Well, let's see. Celebrity gossip. Let's talk about that.
Let's do something light.
How's
now.
Amanda Bynes doing?
Oh, fuck. I hear badly. That's it. That's all I know.
I'd fuck the shit out of her. I don't care, man. I don't think there's anything wrong with her. I think people are just hating because she's just being real.
Oh, so you clearly know about the story. Is she a truther or something now?
Yeah, she's definitely a truther. She said that Courtney Love is the ugliest woman she's ever seen.
Oh, that's bad.
That's definitely truthy. So.
That'll get you black tar balled from the industry.
So yeah, a lot of people are getting pissed at the shit that she's tweeting. I'm like, yeah, you know what? She's at that age where she's just gonna say everything that's on her mind. And I had that fucking Facebook, addiction phase too, where I was just posting just the most ridiculous thoughts that was in my head. And it's tricky, man, because what does Facebook ask you when you first log in is what's on your mind?
What is your dick size? Oh, well, that wouldn't apply to everyone. Yeah. It's true. Wait, what is that? How did you connect that? Are you high or something? How did you connect all this to Amanda and the...
Well, no, I'm talking about how Amanda is
talking
tweeting stupid shit. And I'm like, well, when you got Facebook asking you what's on your mind, what do you think is going to happen? People are going to say, what the fuck is on their mind?
Right, and it's asking you. It wants to know.
And this is, ever since we started doing this show, I've been less... saying what's on my mind on Facebook and saying what's on my mind on this show, where nobody really knows who we are or where the fuck we live.
So you think? Yeah, it's well, we all know that the conscientious thing to do would be for a lot of people to shut down their accounts because it would just help them. Like, it would spare them a lot of trouble, But for most people, it's just that time filler. Time stretcher. But these celebs, I mean, they're people and they say stuff, and Twitter gets people in trouble and loses them money, and Facebook gets people raided and shit, right? Like rappers getting raided because of their speech, and teenagers getting SWAT teamed because of their political Facebook posts. It's all that shit. You've heard about celebrity swatting, where people call the SWAT team to like Miley Cyrus's house, and
I keep hearing about I heard something about Kim Kardashian's house was raided by SWAT teams.
Yeah, it's not even raided. They just show up outside with like a megaphone like Alex Jones, and they're like, oh, we know you're in there. Or actually, they probably just find out it's bullshit before they even get to that stage, Like, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, they don't, before, like, people act, like, wouldn't the SWAT teams know that this is fucking Justin Bieber's house or whatever? I know they just get a call, but it's like they figure it out pretty quickly. You'd have to imagine, Chris Brown's
we
pet.
kind of assume that there's an intelligent organization to a lot of the police and governmental work, but as we know, that's not the reality. I don't know.
Well, Facebook makes it easy for them, that's for sure.
So what
else is in the news?
What's going on in the world of politics right now?
Politics. I was going to mention other celebrity truth tellers, but we can leave them in the dust.
I was just going to say, like, what's up with Wiener?
Oh, everything.
So
what do you
Michelle
know about
Bachmann
Wiener?
is out of the political world.
And the Wiener's going back in.
He's in.
Oh, we don't know.
He's all the way in.
This is straight political. Yeah, Bachmann's out and they talk about it. I don't know. These people always shuffle. They're just trying to get money. Like, they're getting better jobs at think tanks.
Well, there's all these, right now, election talk because, people are already talking 2016. They're already talking midterms. So,
are they talk?
Wait, 2014, sorry.
Oh, yeah, of course they're talking 2014 midterms. Yeah, what's it going to be?
It's coming. It's 2014 is soon. And so we got Wiener, we got Plouffe or Plouffe.
What's the fucking Plouffe?
Plouffe was the guy who ran Hillary Clinton's campaign.
Is it David Plouffe?
Yeah, David Plouffe. He's running for some kind of seat right now. I don't know if Senate or something like that. So and Anthony Weiner is another Clintonite. So we're having all these Hillary Clinton, Clintonites type of people.
Jeez.
Showing up in
the
arena
love Clintonites.
Right now. Are we getting ready for a Hillary Clinton run?
By the way, who's hot is Chelsea.
Chelsea is
Clinton.
Beautiful. She's really.
That's
really,
kind of again.
She used to be kind of fugly.
She had braces or whatever and shit, but now that she's like 30 or something, she's looking nice.
Wow.
But also, which does nothing to disprove my theory that all famous men, whether they're ugly or handsome, have a hot daughter.
Well, it's just when you can afford, you can afford braces, you can afford
makeup, and shit.
better weight loss technology,
even Bill,
personal trainers.
Yeah,
and
even
stuff
Bill
like that.
didn't Bill go on a vegan diet a couple years ago, and now he lost weight and all this shit.
And these people, they can afford all the healthy food. Like us poor people, like it's so much cheaper to just buy some junk food and shit, and then to fucking try to put together a healthy meal with no GMOs.
But yeah, I mean, it's just you can do it. It's just it's very time. It's of course cost, but it's time. Like the farmers market only happens once a week and shit, or like you got to go everywhere.
And it's expensive. It's more expensive to get your food at the farmers market is more expensive than
This is true.
Just go buy some GMOs.
Oh no! GMO. So will this be? There's no daily burp. Will this be? What will be the key issues? Mr. Montana, in 2014, will it be GMO foods or, let me guess, more childish horseshit?
Well, I mean, the GMO issue has come up in the last election cycle. There was a proposition that would force GMOs to label their food GMOs.
But it failed.
And it failed
in California.
So maybe we'll see a reemergence of that same proposition. Maybe in California, maybe somewhere else. Who knows? We'll see. But we'll probably not.
Colorado.
We probably won't get any media coverage of it. We didn't get any media coverage last time. There was zero media coverage of the huge 2 million people strong Occupy Monsanto global rally. So they're not going to cover this shit. They're just like they didn't cover Ron Paul's veteran march on Washington. They're not going to fucking cover anything, of significance.
How about the tornado that just happened and the further storms that will surely come? And all the debates about disaster relief and federal aid and shit, will that be a big issue in the next election? All this it's like the Katrina of its time and shit.
I think they're going to want to sweep that one on the rug. I don't think they're going to want to talk about that because, if you look at what happened, we're still talking about Hurricane Sandy. That was crazy right there.
Oh, yeah.
And, there was a very swift response because it was election time. So Obama had to do something
he would have done it anyway, most likely.
He had to look heroic. He had to look like Superman.
But
he doesn't have to get reelected. So that tornado that happened in Oklahoma, he didn't show up until a week later, and it was really FEMA didn't even respond to that shit. What happened in Oklahoma?
So just let it lie.
Yeah, it's just being rebuilt by its own community. So there's no heroic government intervention story with this event right there.
Isn't that what a lot of people
with
want?
Hurricane Sandy.
Isn't that what the Ron Pauls of the world want, though? We don't need government assistance and all this shit. So, if that's the case,
no. The point is, government assistance is not. It doesn't work. It's not all. It's first of all, it's selective. You know what I mean? They did everything they could at Hurricane Sandy. They didn't do much at the tornado at the Oklahoma. They didn't do much with Hurricane Katrina. They didn't do much. They did
a lot of shit in Katrina. It was just fucked up
Katrina
stuff.
was after the re-election.
It was Thunderdome holding camps or whatever.
Katrina happened after Bush's re-election. So if there's no re-election coming up, they're not going to give a shit.
Oh, yeah. No, they're not going to.
If there's a re-election coming up and Hurricane Sandy is about to hit New York, of course Obama's going to want to look like Superman.
But yeah, but it's, of course, but doesn't Barry want to help the Dems for 2014 by making everyone look good? Because they say he'll be expected to go campaign for people, running for Senate and all this shit. So it's really not his last campaign.
It's not going to happen.
No? The ex-president doesn't do that nowadays.
They don't do that because Bush didn't do that for the Republicans after,
But yeah, he was a special case.
Especially after Katrina and everything. And it's not going to happen with Obama in the light of IRS scandals and, Benghazi and all that.
Bush was a far removed ass motherfucker from the beginning. I mean, Barry is a little more cozy, just like with people.
I think we're going to see Hillary Clinton really get behind candidates like Elizabeth Warren,
aka bitches.
She's not going to get behind Weiner. But Weiner's going to get behind her.
Weiner's going to go everywhere with her.
She's going to stay away from Weiner. But if Weiner becomes mayor of New York, he's definitely going to get behind.
Maybe we're setting a precedent because we just saw Sanford retake his seat, right? And he had a sex scandal, supposedly. Although it was really a getting with a hot chick scandal.
Yeah,
which is what guys want to.
So if that could happen, then why not Weiner?
And Weiner, I don't know what it.
And Democrats are a lot more forgiving of this kind of stuff than Republicans. So if Republicans can forgive Sanford, then why not Weiner?
It could be a sign that America's getting over. Cheat. It's a sign America could be getting over these childish sex scandals.
And Weiner didn't actually snitch. He just pulled out his stitch.
I don't know. I'm sure people criticize and say we could have used a better rhyming word right there. Well, yeah, I mean, he was just trying to send his ween to a hot chick.
Yeah.
Himself.
He just wanted to share
himself
to
she's
the
hot.
world.
Yeah, man. It's like.
Well, I mean, the bigger scandal was that it was an underage girl.
Well, one of the biggest things
that's a scandal that no one's gonna even touch.
Oh, is that the problem?
It was
that's probably true. So, as men, a lot of men, are into such things. They don't know. See, this social media, whatever you wish to call it.
But see, like if a regular guy like me or you tries to get with an underage girl, we end up on Chris Hansen, Dayline NBC,
fucking
right?
Cock blocking, motherfucker, as he said.
But if Weiner sends his wiener to a fucking 15, 16-year-old, whatever the fuck she was, like, that's no one gives a shit about her age. But it's more about the fact that he did it, But
here's the thing: it's something like that.
No prosecution or no criminal investigation or anything.
To get into the bush, deep into the bush of this case, is it a crime to send a pic of your wiener to an underage girl? I mean, you're not having sex with her. No, but I mean saying you're not raping her, you're not having sex with her. There's no physical contact. But yes, it is a crime.
It's indecent exposure.
Yeah, it's indecent exposure. But like that's the thing. It's one of those things. Again, it's like. People, okay, if you're forcing it on her, that's one thing. But if she's like, oh, let me check that out. She wants a picture. That's consensual, that's requesting and all that. I mean, she could see the same thing in movies.
Okay, so
Jason,
I think the official excuse for this conundrum is that is conundrum a word?
No, sure. Why not?
Is that the girl was just on his Twitter friend list. And that
got the picture.
Because everybody on his friend list got the picture.
Yeah.
So that it wasn't really sent to her specifically.
So there you go.
That's their explanation for it. That she just happened to be on there. That it was meant to be sent to a girl who was not underage, and that it got sent to everyone.
So then the whole case is moot, exactly. And like, how do you know it's not just?
And how do we know he didn't send it to a guy or something?
Yeah,
how
exactly.
Do we know? Yeah.
Like, remember when Britney Spears' Twitter?
That's not the real secret.
Remember when Britney Spears' Twitter account got hacked a couple years ago, and it sent out all these truther messages like the satanic NWO is ruling everything, and it's like, okay, it got hacked, or did it? Was that just some Britney?
I mean, who knows?
Britney's
maybe
real
he
shit?
did. Look, maybe he did send it to an underage girl, right. and then somebody found out because all the they check the campaigns always check on their shit, on their people's emails and all that, and somebody found out that somehow, or maybe the girl was like an informer or some kind of a spy or a mole or something like that, right? And he sent her a penis, or maybe it was a guy. Who knows? Maybe this is a gay scandal. We don't know.
It could be a hot Russian female
spy. And then
spy.
they panicked and they found out, and they panicked. They're like, all right, well, this is gonna get out. You send your penis to an underage kid. This is gonna get out. Like, this is bad. Like, let's just send it to everybody on your shit so that it looks like an accident, so that it looks like it wasn't intentionally sent to that underage person.
That's a very good point.
It's possible that they could have done that as damage control.
That's a good analysis of this case because, and he could get right back in there.
And then who broke the case? Do you remember who broke that shit, right?
Was it Breitbart-y related?
It was Breitbart. It was Andrew Breitbart.
Himself. Oh, so this was PD, pre-death, like, yeah.
No,
because Breitbart's, like, website and shit still breaks stuff,
Yeah, I mean, ever since he broke that story, he started breaking more, like, and getting deeper and getting more into riskier, more dangerous stories, and that, was basically the last year.
But if he broke it, but here's the thing: if he broke it, and I do mean this, it's probably not
like
what
he
said it
broke
is.
stories about rape going on in Occupy Wall Street. No one else is talking about that anymore.
But a lot of that could be fake, though, from him, because
he had some pretty good reports.
He's a notorious faker. There could be some real shit.
He had some witnesses. He had some people. Like, he talked to a lot of.
The thing is, with the Wien, it's just like what we dug into just there. No homo with the Wiener case. The news media and all that. They're not going to even go that far. No one even can sum it up that simply.
That Breitbart was going to come out with like this big, like finalized, like report on the rapes that happened in Occupy Wall Street.
How do you quantify such a thing?
And he died right before that happened.
Well, supposedly before a lot of stuff, the Obama released video, the AJ appearance,
he was going to come out with a huge package of like everything that he had collected throughout that year, investigating Occupy, investigating the socialist ties with Obama, investigating, Obama's birth certificate and all these things. And he had a big package that he was going to come out. Coincidentally, the same day that Joe Arpaio came out, he died on the day that Joe Arpaio came out with his cold cut posse or whatever the fuck you call it.
Cold cut posse, cold case, yeah.
Cold case posse.
Sandwich eating ass motherfuckers. Yo, so
just a bunch of white fools with sandwiches.
Yeah, at which they were, I'm sure, in many cases. Yeah, dog. This was all time for Barry to rise, and just more shit to happen. Yeah, it'll affect the election. It'll go. The status quo will be maintained.
We digress from Wiener to now.
The status quo is going to be maintained no matter who gets in office, etc. Until that paradigm shifting event or process or whatever. Like, the country's getting more progressive, I guess. But that doesn't mean that Democrats will do better necessarily.
But it's like, look at it this way, man. 20 years ago, no one ever thought that you would see another Bush in office. No one that would just like be like, are you kidding me?
After
another one
loss,
after the first one, that's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Like, the failure, he only had one term, and he was regarded as probably like the worst president we ever had after that. And people never thought that anybody could bring that legacy back. So, like, when we think of all these people that are failures, like Michelle Bachmann or Anthony Weiner or whatever, it's like, think again. You never know. They could very well make a comeback.
Because
you'd be surprised how many people can come back from these scandals. Like, just
there's nothing
with the hands completely clean.
The best thing you could have in America is a name. Yeah. I mean, Vanilla Ice still gets money off
there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah, it's like if you're Michelle Obama, you can always come back and have a book or a thing or some sort of cable online TV show and shit. What am I talking?
Who knows? Like by 2016, people might have completely forgotten Benghazi, and then Hillary Clinton would be supposed to run. I mean, who knows, man? Maybe just the media will just claim amnesia.
The memory hole.
Yeah.
But hopefully what's going to happen, is the people will start focusing more on issues and not people, and they'll just demand people are for certain issues. That's sort of like what we've been pushing at, right? In general, like, if you're not pro marijuana or whatever, we're not going to vote for you. Like, if you don't want to end the war on drugs, if you're not this, that, blah, blah, blah. And hopefully people will hold motherfuckers to standards like that, but obviously it's not going to work out that way.
I think the whole voting thing is totally obsolete now. It doesn't even matter
anymore. You're not a patriot.
They fix this shit.
Yeah, you're totally right.
They control it already with the media controlling the opinions. Like somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he ran for governor, there was already all this talk of him grabbing titties and shit like that.
Oh hell yeah,
that
steroids and shit.
It didn't stop Bill Clinton from getting reelected. All this Monica Lewinsky shit. So all this stuff that people waste their time on, it's like it ends up not really, because we don't have a democracy. We have a technocracy. We have computers making all these decisions for us.
Yeah, it's a techno-corporatocracy.
Yeah, we have computers deciding where the economy is going to go and what the price of gas is going to be and all that shit. So it was like, why are we wasting our time trying to change things? So I thought who's going to be elected anyway.
But I thought you were Mr. Optimist about America and everything, and that we're going to rebel and fight back and change things. So how do you square that circle, huh, Mr. Freemason?
Well, I look at it this way. The election part is fucked. Like, it's completely a waste of time now.
Right.
However, there's still one thing that they have to convince people, and that's with money, to get contributions, money, to get you to send them money.
Vote with your dollar.
And all that stuff. That's the only thing we have left.
Is our measly dollars?
Yeah, exactly. Because in the end, money is what's going to get these people into office. It's not going to be, fair elections, because doesn't really exist anymore.
But they don't need money from the regular people. They just get it from the trillionaire corporations. So
what I'm saying is, these people, these corrupt people, yeah, they're going to get it from the trillionaire corporations and all that. That's a good point. But these corporations can't survive without us. You know what I mean? Like, let's...
Yeah, but they have we can't survive without them either. That's the whole problem. Yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship.
We need the way they have it structured now, with Monsanto running all the food, like, it's not like we can just boycott Monsanto like that overnight. But it's something that we need to be working on, because really the idea that we can get our democracy back with all these electronic voting machines is kind of it's not going to work. But the idea that we can actually start boycotting all these companies and just totally refusing to pay, let's all refuse to pay the income tax, let's all refuse to stop, let's all tell them that we're going to stop funding them.
Yeah, I try to not, buy, I sort of try to buy as little as possible overall, I don't fucking obsess over getting a new TV or something like most people do, but I still gotta go eat food and go to Subway and shit and fill up my car with gas and go to the Illuminati oil registries and all that. So it's I still have to feed them a little bit, so they can give me their little bit. So
little things. It's little things. I mean, even the income tax is still just a small part of it. I mean,
it's the everyday tax.
Yeah, but they would have to make some concessions, if everybody decides to stop paying the income tax, everybody in the entire country decides that they're going to stop paying the income tax, that would have a huge effect, because there's not enough IRS agents to force everybody to pay.
They could get some people, but it's just like a flash mob of youth that rolls into Walmart and steals a bunch of shit. Yeah, they can arrest 15 of them, but there's 300 total, so almost everyone gets away. So there would still be...
and I think this is being done right now, it's class action lawsuits against the IRS. You know what I mean? Let's people put their money together and go against them, because they're the only ones enforcing us to have to pay these taxes. So if we just tell them no, we're not going to pay it, and we're going to put our lawyers together to basically sue you so that you can't have the power to just take our money when you want to.
What if, how does it work in other countries? How do they collect taxes in Japan or something? It's got to be a similar process,
yeah, I mean,
right?
I assume that every country has, some kind of
version of the IRS.
Yeah.
Or do you just pay it direct to the governmental office? I'm sure it's more efficient, whatever it is, but it's
it's different. And because I think that I don't know, man. I have to study it more, but it's probably the same exact concept as here. You know what I mean?
Like people shouldn't have to pay taxes and hate it.
Because they need somebody to enforce that. Because if there wasn't a group to enforce taxes, people would not fucking pay that shit.
But that's the thing. But a lot of people, like Joe Biden, believe it's patriotic to pay your taxes. So is it or isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. There's people that believe that it is, and all those people are usually rich people. They're usually people that can afford these taxes. And a lot of the times, these people that just say that, it's empty, because even they don't need to pay. Like the Charlie Rangels of the world, or I bet you Joe Biden, I'd like to see his tax records.
For sure,
what I mean?
for sure.
I bet he has.
Yeah, it's patriotic for you to pay your taxes.
Yeah, exactly. They want you to pay, but they end up getting caught skipping out on their taxes all the fucking time.
And that's the main problem. I mean, not to be a communistic ass dude, but people need to, it's not even hold themselves to the same standard as everybody else, but they need to understand different points of view and different living situations, and not just, I don't know, I guess you just call it empathy in a whack new age way, but it's just people, they don't get it. That was they said about Bush and whoever, he doesn't get another worldview.
When we appoint these politicians, are all rich people. They're all people that were born rich or have been rich for a long time, and may have, if they were poor once, probably forgot what it's like to be poor.
They always,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say, a lot of people are like, well, I used to work hard and I was poor and stuff. Yeah, in your 20s or something maybe, and now you're 70. You've been rich for way longer than you've been broke, basically.
Yeah. So once you've spent a lot of time in the system in Washington, with lobbyists and all that, then you kind of lose your kind of soul and your humanity. You're completely detached, and you don't know what it's like, obviously, to be
Yeah, it's not enough.
They have to work hard.
Just because you came from humble beginnings doesn't mean you remembered that shit. And it's the cliche of stay true to your roots and everything. Don't forget where you came from.
Yeah. So you can't expect the people, because every time we elect these people that are rich people or come from rich families or whatever, you can't expect them to fucking know what it's like. You can't expect them, you know what I mean? Like Obama, people thought, okay, he's a black guy, he must know what it's like, you know, to grow up poor, a single mom and all that stuff. Turns out, no, he was a millionaire before he became president. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he had book sales and shit.
Yeah, you know? He was rich. He was already detached. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's fucking. Can you imagine, any of you out there listening? Could you imagine never once in your life having a trip about paying a bill or any sort of like cost of anything? Like, imagine what that would free up in your mind.
It's just insane. I mean, that mentality of, like, I was talking about Michelle Bachmann. She wants to have a flat tax where poor people will pay the same taxes as rich people, but basically she doesn't want to lower taxes. She just wants to enforce the taxes on all the people who are not paying their taxes, aka poor people,
po folk,
exactly,
aka not her and her boy. All right,
she wants to basically like expand the IRS, which she of course used to be an employee of, to basically make sure that poor people are paying the same tax rate as rich people, and that's insane. You know, I get lowering taxes. If you want to lower taxes for the rich, that's fine with me. I'm all for lowering any tax. But she's talking about raising taxes, and I think that's this fake neocon.
No, that's that
neo-Republican thing of they're for raising taxes. They just say they look at it instead of saying they're for raising taxes. They're just saying, oh, we want a flat tax. We want it to be fair. Right. They call it the fair tax.
Well, it's that fake-ass wrong message-taking Ayn Randian, Randroid, like, outlook of, everyone has to pull their weight and shit.
If, you know, like, a rich person telling a poor person, basically, like, hey, I have to pay this much, like, you know, 60% or whatever, so why shouldn't you? You know what I mean? Pay 60% of your, like, measly fucking salary or whatever, the paycheck. Or whatever.
You gotta pull your own damn weight. Even though it's like, you still have way more fucking money than them.
The truth is, though, rich people can afford these things a lot more than we can. They can afford to, like, okay, well, I'll just have to give up the swimming pool, or I'll have to give up, you know.
Hell no, they ain't giving up the swimming pool.
No, but they'll
find a way to write it off.
If they have to give up something, like, they'll give up... You know, they'll write it off. They'll find a way to write it off. They go around it. They'll find a loophole.
Rich people. The whole point is going down in lifestyle is one of the biggest blows you can take, supposedly, in our fake social economy system. You know?
But I don't feel bad for somebody that has to give up.
No, of course not. But they feel bad. People literally commit suicide because they have to like give up a pool and a Ferrari and live in an apartment with a Toyota. You know what I'm saying? Like, their life is still good afterwards.
I guess I could never understand that.
No,
I guess because I've been poor like my whole fucking life, you know. So,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's about lowering in status. If you have to move from a 10-room mansion to a 2-bedroom house in the city, you're like, oh my god, we've fallen so far. Even if you're still in the top 10% of society, you know, if you go from top 0.1% to only top 15 or whatever, that's a huge blow. And like I've sort of seen it with my own fam and all that, but. You know, we managed to maintain.
I think the biggest damage to taxation is employers that have to let go of their employees and can't hire more people because their taxes are too high. I understand that problem.
This concludes the serious portion of the show.
So like, I'll kind of agree with Mitt Romney. Like, I'm not that worried about the super poor because yes, they do have fucking all kinds of like safety nets. So he wasn't wrong about that. He did say the middle class is really where the problem is. He was right about that. That's where
it's
the problem
the people
really
that are making enough money that they can't like collect welfare and unemployment and all this shit, but they're not making enough to have money. Yeah,
they're making enough money to pay the rich people tax rate, but they have all these bills like paying employees and all that and shit like that. You know what I mean? That they have
insurance, but Obamacare or Berry Care,
they have to pay the insurance and all
that. Yeah.
They have to buy insurance for all their employees. That's the law now. Now you can't. Now all your employees, if you have a small business, have to be insured or have to pay the Obama tax. So you know what I mean? That's or you have to pay the Obama tax.
You must do it. You know the Magical Satan Network before Christ, or MSNBC, they do more comedy than cats like us now. All they do is try to make fun of like people that like Michelle Bachmann that fall off, or Yeah, it's actually clowns like us.
They're like a bunch of wannabe Jon Stewarts, right? But except they're not funny.
They're not funny, and then
they just try, but they're not. Like y'all, you see Chris Matthews, he's a fucking clown.
So it's actually on cats like us to analyze and get into these stories for more than like 6 minutes at a time.
I know, we're actually doing more serious reporting. We're a comedy show, and we do more serious reporting than these fucking MSNBC clowns. Like, it's hilarious.
I mean, yeah, they really try to clown. It's also the same patternage. Like, there's all these tax rates and stuff being discussed, but it's
barely,
just not really. Yeah, it's always just a story of
they just want to they want to focus on which racist Republican they can attack today, and like picking on black Republicans all the time.
It's the soup du jour. What's that? The soup of the day.
I don't give a shit with Chuck Todd. Whatever. I don't give a fuck what That guy is so retarded. Like, I've seen him like read like a word and pronounce it completely wrong and shit. Like, these guys are retarded. They're fucking robots. Like, they have no. Like
Matthews, I've never seen someone more awkward like on TV. Just like nervous laughter and giggling and like yeah. It's like say, I am sort of like that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Well, it seems like he really gets a kick out of just attacking
mind controlling the liberals of America.
Instead of actually putting out information and talking about what's going on, he's gonna like dig into people's personal whatever little shit, you know what I'm saying? Like attack like Herman Cain for saying something stupid,
but right? Are these cats officially not on board with Obamanator anymore? Like, are they all just pissed, or they're gonna carry it through to
they're not like necessarily like the thrill up the leg might be going now down the leg.
Yeah.
But
reverse the course.
But they're just they're still like defending him a little bit. You know what I mean? They're still finding ways to attack Republicans more and to try to stay away from the scandals, the Obama scandals. But they had to talk about it for a brief minute because it was big. Like, it was just now it wasn't just affecting Fox News. It was affecting the AP, Associated Press, and all that. So now they feel like everybody in the media has a target on their back. But that's not going to last, All it's going to do is, like, it's a protest thing. They'll be like, hey, Obama, fuck you. And then behind closed doors, he's all like, okay, Obama, look, we'll stop saying fuck Obama on the air if you just, give us a little bit more money to hump your leg and... that thrill will be right back up Chris Matthews. Just give us a little bit more funding.
Do you believe?
Tell General Electric to like crank up the paychecks.
Would you agree with the statement that the biggest lobby in Washington is in fact the media itself? It's not even any of these other industries.
Look at the media. I mean, MSNBC is General Electric.
Defense contractors, right?
And how many bailouts has General Electric gotten since Obama's been in office? I mean, that's the way they control MSNBC.
I thought they just don't pay taxes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Back
of course.
to the tax.
They're completely
Were they involved directly in like? They're not at a bank. They weren't directly involved in the tarps and shit.
No, but they had their little fallout.
Oh yeah, they had their. He put the G.
Fallout.
Was it the G?
MSNBC is like probably the lowest rated, was the lowest rated cable network for a minute.
That's the Clinton News Network.
Yeah, no, now it's the Clinton News Network. But
they have a fucking food show on now.
But NBC itself is the lowest rated, like, of all the local channels, of all the, like,
I don't know. Well, NBC will be around. Well, yeah, Microsoft took a dip. It really coincides a lot with Microsoft's resurgence as a computer company because they were dipping for a while thanks to Apple. And
Microsoft got a bailout too, didn't it? Did I hear about that? Yeah, Microsoft got bailed out, Facebook got bailed out, Google got bailed out.
Yeah,
they were all going under. Yeah,
they need them. And that brings me back around to, who's a truther now? Is that fool Tom Green. I just read an article on HuffPo from him.
Yes.
Yeah, where he talks shit about Steve Jobs and all these guys and just totally lays it down about how technology...
What did he say about Steve Jobs?
He's just like, well, we all look at him as this genius, but all he really did was give us cell phones so we could, like, intrude on each other's lives and have no privacy and fucking, like... basically...
Yeah, know where all your friends are at all times.
Yeah, he's like the unintended...
Government spying on you through Facebook and through your cell phone,
that's basically exactly what we know and what we think. So this point, he's right on board. You should read his article. It's really good. But yeah, my boy said he watched his recent comedy special too, and it was a lot of like truth-related shit.
But I think Steve Jobs might have been well-intended. Like, he might have not really known that it was going to become this...
That is the case, but again, it's all about blowback.
It's always like that. Yeah, like Einstein didn't know that, like, his theory would have led to the atomic bomb, all this stuff. Like,
Yeah, you have to put it out there. Like, you got to get it out there because it's important that you do. But yeah, you never know. I'm sure he had an idea.
But maybe Einstein did know. Who knows? We don't know.
Well, Einstein directly worked on the Manhattan Project, so under his boss. But
so he knew that we were going to drop the nuke, probably. I mean, who knows?
He knew they were working on it.
But we always praise these people, like Einstein or Steve Jobs
Thomas
or whatever.
Edison.
Maybe, what if these guys were really the most evil, like, crooked people in history that we don't even talk about?
Well, no, I mean, isn't that behind every great fortune's a great crime, etc.? And the people who pretend to be good are evil.
There are no perfect people. There's no person who was free of sin. And if there is one, let him be the
cast the first stone.
Yeah. And so, what was I gonna say?
Man, motherfucker! I heard a good joke. It said Alexander Graham Bell was the first person to sarcastically say, "Hello, I invented the telephone."
But see, what I'm saying is, it's never even those people that we claim invented that. Those are just people that are taking the credit for somebody else's invention. A lot of
Edison,
times. Where they bought the patent or something to the invention, they screwed the person who invented it.
Including Bill Gates, by the way. Did you know that the original DOS Microsoft operating system was literally bought from some guy for $50,000? He invented it. He invented the whole thing. They literally just came and bought it from him. Well, he paid off his mortgage or whatever. They became like quazillionaires. It's that simple. Like,
it's like Joseph Stalin said. History is written by the victors.
The victors. Yeah, man. I couldn't believe. I was talking to some dude the other day. Cool dude. Tennis.
Cool Dude Entertainment.
Cool Dude Entertainment. Yes, with Mr. Persian. And I was talking to this guy, and he's like a tennis instructor. Nice guy, but doesn't know the shit that we know. And he's like, man, it's all about being self-made, bro. It's like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, like they all built some shit from the ground up, like made it themselves. I'm just like, no, we need to have a longer discussion. It doesn't quite work like that, Broheim.
Yeah, but if you look into these guys, they all have these connections and shit like
venture
that.
capitalist firms. Now, obviously, on this timeline, God or whatever decided that they would be the people to bring this shit forward, and they would become the reigning titans of everything. So it happened.
We never give credit. Like, black people invented rock and roll, but don't get credit for it.
Yeah, because
it's like our society has tendencies to, in the history books, give credit to the wrong people.
Yep.
And so we have a completely skewed version of history. Like, people don't, like, most people have no idea what history is. Like, they don't even know that after Abraham Lincoln allegedly freed the slaves, his next step was to deport them back to Africa. You know what I mean?
Were they formed Liberia?
No. Part of the package was to free them so they can be deported back to Africa, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, he was going by this Masonic philosophy.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln was going by this, racist, separatist thing. But when we look back on him today, we're like, oh, he was great, and what's his name was great in the movie playing him.
DDL.
And, Daniel Day-Lewis and all that. So we just idolize these historical figures, and then when you really study what they did and with their policies and everything, you're like, oh shit, he did that. Like, Abraham Lincoln was the first guy to like get rid of posse comitatus.
I wasn't feeling the movie, so I didn't get through it all. But it's like, it's fun, and he was a Republican. It's like,
he was a Republican.
Don't speak ill of a fellow Republican, as one might say.
Well,
but no,
I speak ill of whoever the fuck I want.
Course.
I'm not a Republican.
But you just know that. I know you just know that the history of what we're trained to think is this great dude might not be quite on that level. Yeah. Even if he is worshipped by the Spielbergs of the earth.
Yeah, we're always like shown perfect images, like, it's the same like with like Jesus Christ. Everybody thought he was perfect, but then Dan Brown writes a book that shows that he had kids and whatever. So
Mel Gibson did his thing.
We always assume that somebody is perfect, but there's always another side of the story, and people say no.
It's that unintended it's that Steve Jobs technology shit. It's the blowback from everything. Like what? Yeah. What is like the after effects?
The guy Count Dracula or Vladimir Dracul.
DJ Vlad.
Vlad aka Vlad the Impaler. Yep. Everybody kind of like sees that as like this dark, evil spirit Dracula. But down there in Transylvania, they consider him a hero.
Well, yeah, didn't he like free the whole countryside? Like he was such a beast that he fucking fought off everyone.
He's like the biggest hero in that country's history. Like he's considered like their savior. And he's like their Abraham Lincoln.
Lest everyone forget, every horrible dictator you've ever heard of still has millions of fans to this day, to this very day we're talking about now. Mao, Hitler,
His
like
restaurant's
so many.
named after
Yeah,
Mao.
I know. Nearby where we don't live.
Mao is like the most popular, like he's probably one of the most vicious dictators of the 20th century, if not the most vicious dictator of the 20th century, and yet he's the most popular. Isn't that weird?
Oh yeah, like he's a communist.
People call themselves Maoists,
hero.
All the time, and it's like, do you know what Mao did? Like this guy, like killed like more people. I think he kills like 3 times more people than Stalin did. Like even after he died, like his government continued.
It's like Stalin, Hitler, and everyone combined, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just but we see even all these Che Guevaras and fucking super murderous revolutionary
There's way more idolization of brown dictators like fucking Che Guevara or Fidel Castro,
than the whiteys,
Chavez,
than Stalin or whatever.
Than there are of Hitler, Stalin, or Mussolini, or like the white dictators you can think of, like Julius Caesar.
I mean, right now in Greece, there's the Golden Dawn Party who are just openly like fascists.
The idolization of the brown dictators is that they don't see them as dictators. They see them as liberators. They see them as people who are going to liberate people from the white dictators.
White potato
like Fidel
penis.
Castro wasn't considered a dictator at first. He was considered a guy who was going to liberate them from the white, CIA-run Batista regime, right? The mafia shit. You know?
And all that shit. Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, Fidel Castro has his own connections to the CIA too. So it's just replacing a white dictator with a brown one, and that's what they did in Iran too. They replaced the white Shah with a bunch of brown clerics and the Ayatollah. You know what I mean?
It's the same reason we worship, like the mafia and stuff in America and Italians and everything, because they started as this liberating, like people defending group against the tyrannical Italian government. Like, it's all they're folk heroes from the beginning. They're like the fucking Robin Hood of Sicily and shit. But then of course you become corrupt and bloodthirsty, etc., and make money and all that. So it falls out. But yeah, it's the again, the victors, whoever has the stranglehold of the people, whoever has the public mind is gonna like force to put themselves in the history books.
Yeah, and I think that there's this notion all around the world. And we have to remember that white people are a minority in the world. They are.
In the world, yeah. I mean, we're big, but we.
In the world, white people are a minority. So it's easy to pick on a group that can't really, take over the world by itself.
So all the white paranoia of people in America is justified, sort of being overtaken by the other races? Whether it's, in a global sense, really?
On a global sense, there's you can't say that white people are being taken over by other races are taken over, because other races have always been the majority.
That's
and
true.
White people have always been the majority.
But what they think of as traditionally white areas like England and America and blah, 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 everyone's tripping about Muslims and brown people and Mexicans, invading, so to speak,
all
that's
these
the thing.
Nations. We have a double standard where, when we see whites invading brown countries or Asian countries or African countries or whatever, it's seen as imperialism.
Right.
When you see flocks of groups of immigrants invading white countries, it's seen as, it's just refuge, it's just people, whatever.
Yeah, it's retaking your own land or whatever.
And it's just the same double standard exists when it comes to hate crimes.
Right.
A white person beating up a black person is a hate crime, but a black person beating up a white person is reverse racism.
Right.
It's not racism, it's reverse racism. I'm like, no, it's racism. Reverse racism would be if it wasn't racist at all. Reverse racism would be if it was a white guy beating up a white guy or a black guy beating up a black guy.
People don't even really, almost nobody really even understands the actual, as you would say, dictionary definition of racism. What racism means, for all the listeners, what racism means is you put your own race on a pedestal. You believe that your own race is better than all the other ones. It doesn't really have anything to do with a specific hatred of a certain other race or even beating people up or anything. It just means that you hold yourself in a higher esteem than everyone else.
It's a struggle between two metaphysical superpowers. One being the white race, which has not power in numbers but power in wealth and technology, and then the other power being everyone else, with their power being just in numbers.
Yeah, and by the way,
and China being the leader of that.
If you think this is politically incorrect, you can go
All right, and that's where the power struggle is in the world, right? It's between the power of the small white race that's trying to keep all the power that they've had throughout the years, and then the rest who are rising up and you know.
Well, here's the thing: race.
But it's still racism. You know what I mean?
Race will always be
a division between race that has to continue.
Yeah.
In order to to maintain the powers that be, like they want there to be racism.
Obviously, we have to work together.
Yeah, all these rich people that run the world, they want racism to be there because they don't want us to work together. They want us to be divided. They want us to hate each other.
Plus, people are just addicted to drama. Yeah. That's the simplest form of like global drama.
And these globalists, elite, power mongers are not all white. A lot of them are Asians. A lot of them are Saudi Arabians. Yeah. A lot of them are Israelis.
We just mentioned mad dictators that were non-white.
So these people don't necessarily. Yeah, they're not necessarily racist themselves. They just want us to be racist. They want the rest of us to be divided, so we can't come together and work against them. But when they're smart. They know they have to stick together and not be racist in order to survive. They want us to be the ones to destroy each other. You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's nothing better than that internal infighting, because that's going to go... Because race is going to be... It will be the ultimate hot button issue for the foreseeable future, because it's like all this economy and everything, that's what it breaks down to, is the hatred of the outsiders. And when you feel threatened and you need to protect yourself and you don't want... Yeah, it goes to that. I mean, the sexual thing is a hot button issue as well, like with all the gay marriage and all that. And I sort of was debating whether that would be the big issue globally and all that, but that's still more of a private thing. Like, it's not something that people can just get out there and talk about. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of race is a public, open thing. You could see it. Everyone could see it in another person. So it's just the most easily... visual way to divide people.
It's not easy to round up all the gays because they don't all dress up like fucking fags.
Real gay.
But the thing is, look, if you go by the Albert Pike book of like predictions and shit like that, he predicted World War I, World War II, and World War III, and he predicted that this next world war would be a race war, where in World War II, the Jews were the target. In World War III, black people or brown people, black and brown people, would be the target.
No way.
Yeah. So, and I think we're seeing a lot of that right now. We're seeing a new wave of racism that we've never seen before, that comes from kind of like this a lot of black on white violence, number one. But I think that it comes also from I think it's all kind of directly linked to having a black president. I'm not saying that it's bad that we have a black president. It's great. But the fact that we have a black president that's this corrupt, it basically fuels the white racism. And it also fuels all these, corrupt black forces in America, criminal forces, to kind of feel like they have one of their own in office. Because they see this corrupt guy who's black, so they feel like, okay, let's go out and, where we run this country. Let's go out and get away with shit, and we see the media lets a lot of it slide, and the police lets a lot of it slide. So they're like, fuck it, let's do it. And what does that do? It fuels the white racism, because the white racists see that and they feel justified in their beliefs. You know what I mean? So I think we're going to see more and more division between white people and black people, and that it's all by design until people wake up and realize it's all an illusion. It's just there's a lot of books written about this, they want this to happen.
Just an illusion. Yeah. Grand chessboard ass shit.
Well, no, there was a book specifically called The Turner Diaries.
Oh yeah, right.
Where it's like this dystopian, futuristic thing where like the Zionist government that runs everything and watches everybody, and like the cops are all black, and white people are being abused by the black cops all the time and shit like that. It's like racial profiling. Pretty much a lot of the stuff we see today, only we don't see that all the cops are black beating up nothing but white people. We still see a lot of racism in the police.
Isn't there a movie about that with John Travolta, White Man's Burden, where it's like he's a white dude getting fucked with by a black cop?
I didn't see that.
I haven't seen it either, but I remember it popped into my head.
This book, The Turner Diary, is about white people are pitted against the corner, and just they're like the oppressed. They become the oppressed minority,
right?
And and they have to get their guns and rebel and try to overthrow
the whole thing. The whole thing.
You know what I mean? So that book, inspired a lot of the modern day like racism and the paranoia that white people are going to be enslaved.
It's always that one book.
Yeah.
It's always that one meme that just gets out there in a book.
But I'm saying that book could really turn out to be the reality. You know what I mean?
Why not? Any book could.
If the government continues to do what they do, and they'll like, let's say they let Obama get away with everything, and just like everybody's like, oh my God, how you gonna let him get away with this? Is because he's black or something like that? It's gonna make the white population like think that they're being, infringed upon, and it's gonna anger them, and they're gonna think that this is the Turner Diary, and they're gonna rise up and take up arms and all that, and it's gonna get blamed on gun owners and conservatives and all that. Of course.
So our message is everyone read The Turner Diaries by what's his name? No, I'm kidding.
Or don't read it, because that's the thing. People get the wrong message. Instead of getting
paranoia.
a message of something that could happen in real life, they get the message of like, this is what's happening right now, or they see the wrong like moral in there. Like,
but that book is actually written by a racist like white right-wing guy.
I think it is.
It is. Yeah.
I think it is. But there's still like, you have to read between the lines, all right?
You know what would be a good double reading feature? That book and the book by Obama's former professor about like the aliens that come down and want black people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's
thing,
like
right?
The black version of the Turner Diaries, where it's a book written by this professor who Obama praised, that basically is a dystopian future where aliens come to Earth and they say, okay, they go to the government and they say, we'll leave your planet alone, but you have to give us all your black people, right? And they take the black people and enslave them, of course.
Right. And imagine if Obama was the president during this situation.
Yeah,
if it
what
was
would
reality.
He have done? So
what a question.
To save himself and the white people of this country. But so yeah, we see that on both sides, like this division, constant division. And when I say like read between the lines, I'm saying read it for what it is. Like Hitler's book, Mein Kampf, is a great book. And a lot of people read it and say,
shit.
You know what I'm saying?
You didn't just
But
say
read it for what it is. It's a racist book written by a racist guy. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna go out and read all this shit, read it for what it is. Don't try to make your own conclusions from, like, we're talking about Scarface earlier.
Yeah.
How Scarface is about a drug dealer, succeeding in the world of drug dealing and becoming rich and all that and wealthy, and at the end he loses it all and he's dead. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
there's a moral to the story.
There's a moral to it.
But movies
But people
do
watch
glorify.
that movie and they see it that it glorifies a drug dealer, and they want to go by that exact playbook.
Yeah.
Not really listening to the moral of that movie.
And
or New Jack City is the same shit.
And a lot of people don't understand how something can glorify as well as be preaching against something. Like, you could call it hypocritical, but that's the whole point. Like, you need to entertain people to give them a deeper message by the end of it. And that's what these shits are for. And yeah, absolutely. It's like, it's one of those shits, huh? I'm totally breaking down. Yeah, there's just, there's good shit out there. People write stuff. I totally brain farted. Should we wrap it up? We should totally wrap it up.
I read anything, man. Like, I don't like, a lot reading. Of the, I don't agree with, like, the Quran, a lot of stuff that's in it, but I have a copy of it. I read it. I read all kinds of different books.
There's been a lot of there's been a lot of anti-book talk I've noticed recently. Like, people have been commenting on my shit, like, when you read books, you just get stuck into that world and you can't see what's really outside. And someone else was saying, like, I read some psychologist that was like, don't teach your kids to read too early because it robs them of the connection with emotions and shit. Like,
what I'm saying is, if you read books, like, stop reading shit that you are automatically going to agree with.
Take the right message from it.
Yeah, take the right message and draw your own conclusions from it and stuff like that, like with your own research and your own mind. Don't adopt this person's mind, you know what I mean? Like, and also try to understand who that person is, but also who you are. Like, don't
read to the end too. By the way, the most important part is that last 15%.
Like, you can agree with some of what they say. Like, I read some of Ayn Rand's stuff and agree with some of it, but then some of it I don't agree with. You know what I mean? So it's like, you don't have to agree with everything to read a book. Just read it just to get to know what this person thinks. And, like, I think that like, for example, like, these people who want to know why do the terrorists hate us? Why do they hate us? Well, why don't you read the stuff they write and find out why they hate us?
Why don't you read what makes Mein Kampf an amazing book?
Well, I'm saying, because you want to know what he was thinking.
Right,
you want to know
tells you the whole thing.
Yeah, you want to know why.
Right.
Did this
In
man
other words,
think like
study
this?
your enemy. It's the art of
Study
war.
your enemy.
You
Yeah,
have to know
you
the
should.
enemy better than they know
people
themselves.
Will criticize. No, there's plenty. I have plenty of friends who read Mein Kampf in high school, and it's like, whatever, man. You're just you're not reading it. You don't agree with this person. You don't have to agree with this person. The best, you know, find out who they are.
The best professionals, fighters and athletes and shit. I mean, they study their opponent to the point of obsession. They know what their fucking diet is, what their Twitters are.
That's why I keep trying to get you to read Ron Paul's books and shit. I know you don't agree with
not
it,
my enemy. No, I'm just on that kick too. Like, I still read, but I read a lot less than I did before. Not only because there's other distractions with videos and stuff, but because I sort of have this feeling, which is, I need to put the knowledge into action. I don't just want to read more books and fill my head with more shit that I don't apply, you know? I want to take what I already know and try to, I guess, make money and fucking do shit with it and produce my own stuff. Like this show. This show wouldn't be possible if we both didn't have a lot of fucking info in our head. We don't use a laptop. We're not looking at news stories.
Look, I'm talking about all this reading shit, but I don't read either.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of movies and videos.
Yeah, me too.
And shit like that. Like back in high school when I had to do a book report, I would just rent the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But,
you punk bitch.
Yeah.
But you still understand the importance of it.
The importance of being able to read and knowing how to read and read between the lines. Like, I'm a great reader. Like, you show me something to read, I'll read it really fast with the right tone and everything.
The right tone. I mean?
Just because I don't read a lot doesn't mean I don't know how to read. And I do read. I read a lot of articles. I read a lot of stuff.
Even if you're fucking illiterate, figure shit out. Like, you know, watch videos. Fucking figure out how shit works. The paradigm. Listen to someone else talk about, you know, these ideas, these people with the big ideas. Like, at least you'll get an idea of their ideas. We're up our own ass now. By the way, if you thought any of this was politically incorrect or whatever, you can shove it, because as we said, we don't go by the fucking what's proper in the alternative.
But we're like, you know, very kind of unique in a way that kind of we mix like very intelligent commentary, telling people to read books, while at the same time talking about chronic masturbation.
Which we will do right now, as we always leave room for.
All right, no. But any predictions, anything?
Well, in the 2 days since our last show, has anything happened? Well, I don't know about predictions, but I will point out to the audience that there's a video of you, John, saying there's a storm coming from like 2 months ago or something, and a storm did actually come in the form of a tornado, and there'll probably be new shit. So
no, I knew there was something coming.
We meant other shit. But
the storm coming is it's
predictions. I mean, I don't know what
it's from the Pred Prague masterpiece, The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, all I do is like look at summer movie releases and see how they fucking are gonna predictively, you know, program everyone. And you got shit pro Google stuff and, you know, shit like that, and of course more, I don't know, Superman, stuff like that. Whatever happens, I predict that whatever's in Superman will be a good template for like
the best
future
way,
events.
Yeah, to find the good Pred Prague is look into shit that's produced by Fox.
Oh yeah, of course. Like I saw my
not Fox News, Fox.
Yeah, the actual shows, Fox. Whether it's 24 or the X Files, Family Guy, absolutely.
Anything of these Fox Kids shows, you know.
Yep, X-Men, whatever.
X-Men,
anything. Yeah, you're right. Anything produced by Fox, look towards it and just see what you can piece out. My friend claimed he was going to do an entire series breakdown of...
Keep talking.
What's going on? Oh, there's Mello? My boy said he was going to do an entire series breakdown of all the conspiracy scenes in The Simpsons.
Hold on, I'm in the middle of something. Dude.
And we're going to rock it. So we're getting a visitor.
We're pretty much done.
And we're thug it out. Let's do it.
So, you know, I guess there wasn't that many news, but we'll probably get more next time. Yeah.
No, we still delivered incredible commentary.
Yeah, of course, as we always do.
Yes, and I don't mean it's not credible. I mean it's good shit. So,
and
flow with that.
IJS Radio, thank you for listening, and have a good night. And don't forget to masturbate thoroughly.
Yep.
Thoroughly. Very thoroughly.
Don't be ignorant of this show. And don't be a fucking...
Should we do a little theme song?
Melon head. Yeah, sure.
We got like... Wow, it's almost an hour. Awesome. I'm just saying radio. Yeah.